haunted houses and graveyards and places like that, and a lot of history of Knoxville as well. Starting the first with the Mabry Hazing House. Now, this place is a real old house that's still there. The original furniture in it, which was left there by Evelyn Hazen, which was the last person to live there in the house. The story of this house, though, it comes by the Mabrys, which was created by General Mabry and his wife Laura, who made this house. They had another house out west Knoxville. It was a brick house. It didn't have a lot of windows. It's musty, and they didn't like that, so they wanted to build this house. It's kind of more like an Italian type house. It's kind of tall. It had big, lots of windows in it, so a lot of sunshine could come in. So they moved in this house and were very pretty wealthy off, as he had a railroad company. But something tragically happened, and things didn't go as well, which goes back kind of to another story in the past where him and this other banker got into a skirmish about some land, and the banker, supposedly was accused of hiring a hitman to kill his son Will, his younger son Will, because he was in his actually you might say his will to get the land that the banker thought that he owned, and they were always in an argument about that, and the general didn't like that, and then actually the person, Mr. Connell, he actually Connor actually approached him out in one day and killed General Mabry out in the streets of Knoxville, which is pretty bad. But not to say the least, his older son Joe Mabry ran out to go see what was going on and heard, and realizing Joe had pulled out his pistol and shot Mr. O'Connor. But before Mr. O'Connor went down, he actually pulled out another gun and shot Joe and killed him. So pretty tragic, that goes back to this house where, Laura had, 3 deaths in 1 year. Her husband and, these two sons, and which is pretty bad. And then the business was going down the tubes, and she's going to lose the house. But fortunately, one of her daughters, Alice Evelyn Mabry, had married into a very rich person, Rush Strong Hazen, and that's how you get the house Mabry Hazen. With is Evelyn Hazen was, one of the daughters of Alice and Rush, and she was, stayed in the house until around, I guess, 1987, you might say, in this house by herself. She never got married. She had some kind of, you might say, a jerk of a guy that was trying to get her to marry him, and he's made all these promises and didn't treat her well, and was really not nice to her, and then she ended up suing him about their marriage and some things, and it just wasn't a good scene. She never did have a marriage after that, so she ended up living in the house from there. But she'd often said, as far as hauntings go, there's, she had somebody visiting in one of her rooms, and said he would be visiting there for a while, and then it mentioned now the person's gone. So she did mention something about somebody haunting one of the rooms in there, as well as there's other people that claim that it's haunted as well, and even in the Halloween, they have seances in these places. So somebody thinks there's some spirits hanging around there. But anyway, it's a really cool place. I wasn't able to get in there and look at it, but I'm going to have to try to make a trip to get down. You have to go during the week. It's not open on the weekends. Pretty cool place. It's called the Blunt Mansion. It's one of the older buildings down or houses in Knoxville. It's often known as the House of Many Eyes from the Native Americans because they said they could see a lot of that in the windows. I think it might have been maybe dimples or bubbles in the old glass back then. If you look at my videos, I bet you can find some of those eyes. Often they say that you can actually see William Blunt's eyes as well. Also, there's people that have been working down there that saw ghost apparitions of children playing in the house. It's definitely haunted. If you continue down on the right, you'll see another house called the Craighead House, Jackson House. And this is an old brick building. It's not really open for tours or anything of that nature, but it's definitely haunted. As the story goes, there was a servant downstairs cooking in the fireplace, and they caught their dress on fire. And in order to put out their dress, they were trying to frantically get it out so they wouldn't burn, and in the process of doing that they busted their head on the actual mantle and knocked them out, and they fell in the fire and burned to death alive. Ooh, that's a bad way to go. Definitely haunted on that one.
Things where they're not supposed to be. They'll come in and like the bowl of nuts will be over there, or the socks upstairs will be in the wrong spot. And unless we have squirrels with opposable thumbs, Billy's up to good.
So Billy is one of them, and the other was.
Yeah, Billy, he's almost 8.
And then there was one in the window.
The one in the window is Anne. She's the second wife.
Yeah.
Now, if you take a video and you hear in the background somebody swearing, that's Seth.
Oh my
gosh. That's who the cops come in contact with.
So Seth.
Seth's got a bit of a potty mouth. We still haven't figured out what his problem is yet.
Uh-oh.
And then Reynolds, he hangs out over here by the back door. A lot of times, if you look out the window, you'll see somebody dressed in blue walk by, like in a Revolutionary War outfit with a little white dog.
Oh.
That's Reynolds. That's Ramsey's father.
Okay. So any more
I see him a lot, and I don't realize I'm seeing a ghost when I see him. I
Yeah.
say, hang on a second, there's somebody out there, I'm gonna go let him in. I'll walk from here to the door, and there's nobody out there. And I'm like, oh. There's just
Oh,
no one. Sorry about it.
yeah.
I was so mad though, because I never got to see the dog.
Oh, the
It's
dog.
the dog I was interested in.
Oh, okay, so the dog's
Yeah.
one of them too.
Well, I did see the dog about a month ago. One of my volunteers is in the kitchen, and I sit here and I look out and I see this little white like Maltese go running past the window. And I said, Jan, take a look, see which way that dog went. You know, she's like right there at the other window. And she goes, what dog? And I said, the little Maltese. There was no dog. We're just used to having the big
I
lumpy
think
dog.
I hate to be out here at night. It's supposedly this is George Washington's baby crib. Cool. And this is one of the oldest ditches in Tennessee. I don't know if I can get a picture of that. Affecting everything. Okay. Now this is odd. I assume there must have been some type of stairs down there. I guess. Because if you walk down there, you're going to hit the ground.
Butt your head on the way down. You're fine. You still had a good inch on your ponytail.
Yeah.
Watch your head on the overhang. It's a little bit low.
Alright, so look in this mirror, you're supposed to see the ghost of Anne. And behind me, I don't see her, but that's cool. This stuff is really cool. And there's Margaret, which supposedly may be the haunted one. We don't know. Billy? See that? building right there. Keep looking in here.
So Greystone was built by Major Eldad Cesario Camp, a Union soldier after the Civil War, and he was a very successful businessman, one of the richest in the area. But one day, him and another Colonel Henry Ashby, who was a Confederate officer who had been rumored to have prisons where some of the troops were they weren't taken care of, they were mistreated, and he never got proven that was correct, but they still didn't like each other, and one day they met each other, and Henry snapped at him with a walking stick, and Eldad smacked back with the umbrella, and thus they had a skirmish the next day. And it's believed that the Colonel Henry shot first and deliberately missed because that's all he had to do to save his honor, and he didn't really want to kill somebody. But Major Eldad didn't feel that way. He shot him right square in the chest and killed him flat out. And it's rumored that the ghost of Major Camp runs around in this building. That's what they always joke about. That people at WATE TV show or TV channel, they always say, "Yeah, it's Major Camp. He's walking around," and we can hear the footsteps of him a lot of times when they go there and do their new stuff. They're by themselves. Say, "Oh man, it's definitely something watching me," or I can feel stuff walking around and in the wind blowing, and like there's somebody, a presence in there. And there's one room, I think it's the archive room. Nobody likes to go to that. It's just too spooky. So let's don't go to the archive room. But it's a really cool looking building and very spooky.
There it is. This is the place where James Harvey Baker got killed by the Union soldiers. It used to be a hospital. During the Civil War. Old looking. I don't know if you can actually go in the building and look around. I don't think so. Here it is. The old bricks. Go down here. Plaque. This place used to be run down a lot, and they were going to get rid of it. It used to be a gas station, and they petitioned to keep it. I remember those days. It looked like they were going to tear it down. They actually. So here's the memorial. That daughters of the Confederacy put here of Abner Baker, who was the Dr. Harvey, or Dr. James Harvey Baker's son, who actually came back and killed somebody down in Knoxville, not here. And as a result, a lynch mob came and got him and hung him down there in a tree on Walnut Street. Kind of tells the story a little bit more up here. Let's see if I can get that all in there. It's more of the story right there. This place is supposedly haunted, but it looks really cool. You have the glass area there. I guess that's all the club area there, which is pretty cool. We'll get me a brewski. See a ghost or two. There it is, right there, the old Bleak House. Right there's the old sign that says Longstreet's headquarters.
The old Bleak House. On this house is out on Kingston Pike, right off Kingston Pike, and this was actually a Confederate headquarters for General Longstreet. And you know, this was during when they had the Battle of Knoxville. And in this house, there's a tower, and in that tower there were snipers. And it's rumored or believed that possibly one of these snipers actually killed General Sanders of the Union Army, possibly, because he got shot by a sniper, but an actual cannon from the Union blew this place up, and blew the tower out, and they call that the shot of the greatest shot around the time, because it took out the snipers. And of course, the Union won the Battle of Knoxville later on after that. But this is where, it's really considered haunted of all sorts. And because the soldiers in there, there's even some sketches up on the tower of somebody sketched in there, like an artist, of some of the dead people, soldiers that had died there and things of that nature. It's really spooky, a lot of ghosts here, but a really cool place to visit. Very spooky.
Here's the side of the old building, the Confederate hangout headquarters. Look kind of cool back here. It's locked up, but it's kind of got a good little view, you might say, of the river back here. It's kind of the back of it right there. Walk around here and see. It's kind of a cool looking building. Sounds like something's in there. kind of it right there. Says welcome to right here. Is that right there? The sign. Somebody's in it actually. Kind of hard to see from right there. You go. There's kind of the history of it right here. The bleak house right there. That's where they shot a cannonball to shoot the snipers, which may have killed actually General Sanders. They called it the prettiest shot of the war. Supposedly the cannonball's still left there.